Welcome back to Coding Depth. In the previous video, we have seen an introduction to agentic AI. In this video, we will explore Agno framework. Previously, Agno framework was known as Phi Data. Now they have renamed to Agno. It's a Python-based framework, so I'll initialize a Python project here. So I'll use UV for that. So I'll run UV init Agno demo. So this will initialize an empty Python project. So I'll set it to that directory, Agno demo, and I will open it in cursor. So we have different files here, git ignore, Python version is given as 3.9 and PyProject.toml file. When I commit this file and you clone, right, if you install UVSync, then all the dependencies will be installed. So you'll not be facing any version issues. So the first thing to do here is to create a virtual environment. So I can create a virtual environment by running uv venv dot venv. So venv is the command and dot env is the folder where the virtual environment will be created. So when I run that, right, this folder will be created. Inside this folder, right, this is the virtual environment. Whatever we install, right, the Python packages will be installed within this. So it will not affect any other project or any system packages that has been installed. So now we need to activate the environment. To activate that, we can run this command. Ensure that you are running this in git bash if you are on Windows. In Mac, it should work fine. This command source will not work in command prompt or a PowerShell. Now we are inside the virtual environment. So as you can see, it is printing .venv here. So whatever Python packages we are installing, right, it will be installed within this environment only. So that's it about initialization. Now let us create the basic agent. Let me call it as basic search. So first thing I need to create here is an environment file to store all the API keys. So since we are exploring agentic AI, we need LLMs. For that, we will be using either OpenAI or you can use Grok as well. So to get Grok access, right, search for Grok Cloud. I don't want to use my actual email, so I'll use a temp email. So you can search for temporary email. Click on the first link. This will generate a temp email. So I'll copy this. I'll give this email here. This will send an email. So I'll open this and I'll log in. Once you're logged in, right, you can click on API keys and create a API key. I'll say it as demo. I'll copy the API key and in the env file, I'll say grok API key is equal to the API key that has been created. So I'll paste that here. If you have OpenAI subscription, then you can use OpenAI API key as well. So this Grok has some free usages. So if you don't want to pay, then you can use this. You can come here and check your usage here. So let us do a basic search. So from .env, I'll import load.env. This is for loading a .env file. I will call load.env. Next, I have to import agent from agno.agent. Next, I will import the grok model. Since we will be doing search, I'll import DuckDuckGo as well. So these are the import. I'll be putting the link to the GitHub repo where you'll get all this code. So don't worry if you are not getting the imports right. You can copy paste from there. So before going further, let us install these packages. To install the packages, I will run uv add agno DuckDuckGo search grok OpenAI. So let me run that. This will generate a uv.log file so that all the versions installed here will be logged. When you run uv sync again, the same exact versions will be installed. If you're familiar with npm, this is like package log file. So that is installed. Now let us go ahead and create the agent. I'll say agno agent is equal to agent of, first thing is I need to give model. If I don't give any model, it will take OpenAI as the default model. I'll say grok of. We need to specify the model ID. To get the model ID, you can go to Grok Cloud and navigate to Playground here. So there will be a drop down here. You can go ahead and select the OpenAI open source model. If you like any other model like Qwen, you can select that as well. So I'll be selecting this OpenAI GPT OSS 20 billion parameter model. I'll copy paste that. Next is we need to specify the instructions. So we need to specify, this is like a system prompt, what is the model is supposed to do. So I'll say you are a helpful cricket expert. Answer questions regarding cricket only. And next option is I'll say markdown is equal to true. We are specifying this markdown as true so that we can see formatted output. So we can ask questions to our agent. So I'll say agent dot print response of what is umpass call. Let us go ahead and run this. I'll say uv run dot slash one dot basic search. So the model is thinking. This is the message, and of course it explains about umpass call in detail. Yeah, I think it is giving answers in general terms. It is not understanding. I'm expecting it to answer for DRS. So I'll specify it and run it again and see. Yeah, now it got the context and it is explaining what is umpass call. So it is working fine. If you're not getting desired result, you can change the model ID, try a different model from this, or you can use OpenAI model as well. So we'll try with OpenAI model now. So I'll comment this out. So I'll import OpenAI chat from OpenAI. We have already installed OpenAI, and now let us run this and see. Yeah, this is giving more accurate result, like how the ball tracking works and how the decision is made. Now I'll ask one more question. Who won the Asia Cup match between India and Oman yesterday? So as you can see, right, the model was released on August 5th, 2025. So today is September 20th. So if you say yesterday it is 19th September, so this model will not have context of that. Let us run and see what it says. Yeah, as expected, it says I don't have real-time access to match results. So how do we enable real-time data, right? We can use this DuckDuckGo or any other search like SERP API or Bing search. So we have already imported this DuckDuckGo tools. This is how we can help our agent with tools. So I'll say tools. I'll call this DuckDuckGo tools class. I'll also pass one more thing, that is add date time to context. Since we are using yesterday here, right? This needs to understand what date it is so it can calculate yesterday. Now let us run this and see. It is giving us the correct response. India won the Asia Cup match against Oman yesterday, and it's also giving the match summary. So that is how basic search works with the Agno agent. Next, let's see how we can use Y Finance tools to search around finance data. So I will call it as finance. I'll copy some lines from here. Say load env. We don't need Grok as well as DuckDuckGo tools. I'll be using OpenAI chart going forward. Feel free to use Grok if you don't have any subscriptions. I'll create an agent equal to agent of. I'll copy the model from here. And we need to specify the Y Finance tools. It can be imported from agno.tools.yfinance. Let us quickly check if you have already installed it. You can go to pyproject.toml. We haven't installed it. So let us go ahead and install it. So I'll run uv add yfinance. So yfinance helps us in searching stock related data like to get stock price and all. So let us go ahead and search for a stock price. Before that, I need to give the tools to it. Tools is equal to Y Finance tools. Now I will run agent dot print response. Get the current price of Google. So this is the stock symbol for Google stock. I'll run uv run to underscore finance. So you can see, right? This is the message we have passed. Get the current price of Google. Then it makes tool call. So this is the get current stock price symbol is equal to Google. This function is exported from Y Finance tools and it will get the response and it will print the current price of Google. Let us log more details and see how the calls happen. For that, I'll say debug mode is equal to true. So now if you run, right, so it will give all the statements like what are all the tools available to it from Y Finance tools and it will be added to the agent. It will make the tool call. The ID is this, name is get current stock price, this is the symbol, and it will print all the details like how many tokens are used and all those stuff. And finally, it will get the result and it will print the response. So this is basic stock price search. I can change the stock to MSFT. Let me run that. It is printing the price for the Microsoft Corporation. Now let us go one step further and we will create a research agent. Again, I'll copy paste few things from here. I'll give description to the agent. So the description is you are an investment analyst that researches stock prices, analyst recommendations and stock fundamentals. I'll also give an instruction, so that is to format the response in Markdown and to use table wherever possible. So whenever we are preparing a research report, right, you want the data to be formatted and data to be displayed in table format wherever possible. Now I'll call agent dot print response. I'll say share Google stock price, analyst recommendation and fundamental analysis. I want the output to be in Markdown, so I'll say Markdown as true, stream as true. So I'll add a couple more arguments like a stream intermediate step equal to true, show full reasoning as true so that we understand what is happening in each step. Let's go ahead and run this. I'll say uv run 3 dot research dot py. So it is calling tool to get stock current price, analyst recommendation and stock fundamentals, and it will prepare the response. So as you can see, right, it is giving the current price, what are all the analyst recommendations, and what is the fundamental analysis, and it is giving its final recommendation. Of course, you should not go by the recommendation of any AI. You should always do your research. Now let us make this more interesting. This is doing only fundamental analysis, right? I want to do technical analysis as well. So I'm a techno funda investor. So I want both to be done. So both technical and fundamental analysis, right? Doing it by one agent, it doesn't make sense. So we will have multiple agents doing one agent for fundamental analysis and one more for technical analysis. So we will introduce the concept of team here. So Agno has teams. So I'll say teams.py. I'll copy everything from here. I'll rename this to fundamental agent. I'm not going to change anything here. I want a technical agent. So I'll copy paste this. I'm going to change the description here. I want it to do technical analysis. So I'm telling you are a technical analyst that researches stock prices and stock technical analysis. I'm giving it the same tool like Y Finance Tools. Y Finance Tools has both fundamental as well as technical tools, and you can change the model. I'm giving for the sake of the demo, I'm just using the same model everywhere. You can use like different model like Claude or Grok or XAA models, whatever you want. I'm not going to change instructions for this. Now we need to create a team. So I'll say team leader is equal to, I will name this team leader as reasoning finance team leader. Of course, we need to import team. We can import team from agno.team.team. Again, I'll be using the same model here. And we have two members. I think while renaming, we renamed both. This should be fundamental agent. So I'll give members equal to fundamental agent, comma, technical agent. And also I need to give some tools, that is reasoning tool, so that it does the research properly. So I'll import that from agno.tools.reasoning. So tools is equal to reasoning tools, and I'll pass add instructions is equal to true. So as the description shows, right, it's a toolkit that provides step-by-step reasoning tools, think and analyze. So this is required for stock research. Now I will give some instructions like only output the final answer, do not import any other text, and also use table to display data. And some standard parameter like markdown is equal to true. So members responses like what is the response of these two members, so that we can see the step by step processing. And I'll define a function called run team, and I'll get a task. Now I'll call team leader dot print response of whatever task is passed. And finally I'll call the run team function, and I'll say share the Google stock analyst recommendation and technical analysis. Now let us run this and see. UV run teams.py. Since it is a stock research, it will take more time compared to other requests. Yeah, it has started streaming. So the first thing is the team leader is doing is to delegate the task to team members. So it is delegating the task to two team members. First one to retrieve the analyst recommendation and do the analysis for Google. Next is to get the technical analysis for Google. We haven't given any member name, that's why member ID is auto generated. We can give the member name and see the member ID here. So I'll stop this and I'll give name here. So name is equal to fundamental agent. Here name is equal to technical agent. Now let us run this again. So as you can see, right now the member ID is fundamental agent. So it is asked to output analyst recommendation for Google, including buy, sell, hold calls. Then for the technical agent, it will delegate fetch the technical analysis for Google. It has got the response from fundamental agent. So the fundamental agent has responded with all the recommendations from analyst. Then the technical agent will make a tool call to get technical indicators from Y Finance API. And this is the response from the technical agent. One thing with this LLMs is they're not good with dates, but the data is accurate. These are the recent prices of Google. So it has finished analysis and it is giving the current recommendation from a fundamental view. There are significant number of buys and strong buys for Google, and there are no sell calls yet. Also, from the technical standpoint, it is giving the analysis. So it is saying it has shown a strong resilience around 250 mark, and there is significant trading volume, and the latest closing price indicates potential bullish trend for Google. So finally, it is concluding what is said based on both that fundamental as well as the technical analysis. It is a positive thing. So that is about the finance research. Next, let us go ahead and see how we can have memory. So let's say memory dot py. So I'll copy paste few things here. So this is standard code of creating an agent. Now I'll ask what is the capital of Norway. Let me run this and see. So it is responding the capital of Norway is Oslo. So it has finished execution. Now I'll ask a follow-up question. What is the best time to visit it? Let me run this and see. So what response we get, right? To provide you with the best time and visit a specific destination, I need to know which place you are referring to. We just asked it what is the capital of Norway, right? Why it is not remembering? Because so whatever is the previous chat, right? That is not fed back into the LLM. So that's why it is telling which is the place you are referring to. So how do we feed the model with the conversation history? For that, we need to have memory. To implement memory, right? I will have SQLite database. So from agno.db.sqlite import SQLite DB. I'll import couple more things. This is just to print the contents of the DB. Then we have UUID to generate a unique session. While set up a database, so DB file is agno.db that will be created in the current folder. I'll just call db.clear memories to clear any existing memory. Now I will pass db is equal to db. That is, we are supplying this db to the agent. And this line is important, add history to context. So whatever conversation history is there, right, that is added back to the next conversation. I'll create a session here. So session ID is equal to string of UID4, and I'll pass this session ID to each conversation so that it knows this is a continuous conversation. Now let us go ahead and run this. Here we run memory.py. Of course, we get some error because we don't have all these packages installed. So I'll run uv add SQL Alchemy. This is for the SQLite. Now let me run. So as you can see, right, it is remembering what we have asked before. So we are seeing this message also. It has successfully created the table Agno sessions and it is giving what is the best time to visit Oslo. Now let us go ahead and print and see what is there in the agent session. I'll run this again. So as you can see, right, it will pretty print the JSON and it will have what is the role, what is the response. So as you can see, role is user. This was the question from the user. The role is assistant. What was the response from the LLM? And all the other details, metadata like what were the token used and all everything. And the last thing we will explore is user memory. As earlier, I will copy paste few things. One thing I'll add here is enable user memories is equal to true. We will see what that will do. And as earlier, I will create a session ID. Here one additional thing I'll do is I'll have a user ID or user email. You can use anything. Now I will say my name is John and I work at Google. So we have passed the user ID here as well as the session ID. Next is I will ask the agent, where do I work? Other parameters are same, like stream is equal to row, user ID as well as session ID. Now I'll run this. So when I ask where do I work, right, it knows I work at Google. Now let's print the memories and see what is saved. So you get the memories from agent.get user memories, and we pass the user ID that is created earlier. And I'll just pretty print this. Let us run this again. So as you can see, right, there are two user memories saved. One is a topic related to name. User's name is John. This is derived from the input. My name is John and I work at Google. One more user memory, that is occupation. User works at Google. So this is stored in our SQLite database. Next thing is, right, how do we update the memory? So I'll say actually I work at Meta. Now let us run this and check. I'll also print the memory. Let me run this. Now, right, it will update the memory. So when I say I work at Meta, it will say congratulations on the new position. And if you see occupation, user works at Meta. So the memory is updated. Now if we ask it, obviously it will say you work at Meta. So let us test that. I will quickly run this. Yeah, as expected, it is telling you work at Meta. So that is some hands-on with the Agno agent. Hope you like this video. If you have, please consider subscribing to the channel. See you in the next one.